You know, about a year ago when I reviewed part 1 of Mockingjay, I said it was really great, but now that I look back at it a year later, I think to myself, how was I entertained throughout the entire thing? So now that I've proven to be a little bit more self-aware and stop being on a bandwagon all the time, I've watched part 2 knowing, to me anyways, that a lot of it was really boring. So The Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 2 is a conclusion to the Hunger Games franchise, which everybody should know that by now. I'm just gonna start listing off what's good about this movie because I don't feel like really wasting your guys' time. First off, it looks great. It's very non-shaky cam, unlike the first film, and of course it's never really been an issue as of late with these Hunger Games films, but it's refreshing to see how well shot it is. I was very impressed where they took Peeta's character and how they made him have a lot more development than the previous films because I've never read any of the books, so I had no idea where his character was going. It took his character to a very interesting place, just like Alex from A Clockwork Orange. I forgot to add in Don't Look Now, but Donald Sutherland gave an excellent performance as President Stone. You hate him because he's always so cool in every situation. He's never at a moment of panic. The only moment I really remember him having a moment of panic was in the first Hunger Games. But you see him all the time, he's just thinking in his head. He's like, I am one step ahead of you all the time and I'm never scared of this. Even up until the last moments of his life. If you see him, it's just so scary and intimidating how he was like laughing while he was dying. It reminded me of the Joker in some ways. The movie is incredibly slow, you have to go in knowing that, but the action is very well handled, especially with the mud sequence in the sewers. I thought that was pretty great. There was this high level of intensity that it kind of almost made up for the boring parts in the film that were leading up to that part and the other action sequences as well. But again, it was really slow. But for every scene that Katniss is in with her crew planning on what to do, I can hear the audience quietly saying, I really want to go to sleep. When scenes like Prim's and Finnick's death occurred, it was very underwhelming and I felt like they could have dragged those scenes out instead of dragging all those other scenes where they're just talking. Nothing's really happening. Especially with that breakout scene of Katniss near the end of the film. We could have gotten a lot more emotion out of Jennifer Lawrence's performance and it could have been a much more emotional scene again that's a little bit longer. Unless of course that was the director's intent to feel Katniss's numbness throughout all of it, which I highly doubt it. I've heard a lot of people talking online how this film reminds them a lot of Return of the King in terms of this movie just kept dragging on its ending and it never seemed to stop. That's how I felt. At least 3 or 4 times I was like, just freaking end already. And I'm not gonna stand here and pretend that the studios care because, I mean, they've already made their money, so they're happy with that. If this movie didn't have the Hunger Games label on it, I don't think people would care as much for this movie as they do. There's still enjoyment to be had in this film, it's just very far and few in between, and I don't feel like I'll ever have to watch this movie again. And I'm giving this one a Pizza Hut with no toppings. I was this close to taking a nap after the film, so yeah, that just kind of proves how boring it was. Okay, you guys, so I should be back into the silly things finally, because you know how I've been really busy with the play, and it's done now, and I made a slideshow and the promotional videos montage thing McBobber in the description below and in the outro of this video. So yeah, I will see you in the next video. Hopefully it won't be too long. And yeah, bye.